At 8 years old in Australia, Errol Flynn's father was a scientist of biology and did dreadful experiments on the local animals, like the kangaroo rat, the xerus, opossums, or the occasional Tasmanian devil. Under his son's watchful eye, he would split the subject open from stem to stern. After much observation of his father's work, young Errol fancied himself a scientist as well. His field of research was focused in on the flock of gray ducks that roamed in his backyard. One afternoon he discovered that they would eat just about anything you threw at their heads. His experiments showed the ducks liked the hunks of fatty salt pork from the cook's kitchen the best. Just the smell of it in the yard drove them into a frenzy. This fact was, however, not the most interesting observation. The best part was that after fighting like hell for the chunks of this stinking mess, each duck would eat, then pass what he had just had in about a minute or two. You could time it. It was fascinating. In fact, it was nothing short of inspirational. Errol's inspiration came in the form of getting about 20 hunks of the fatty salt pork from the cook one afternoon. Next stop was a supply shed for at least 40 feet of nylon fishing line. After some trial and error, some variations on a theme, the correct formula for the right length of nylon wire, exactly the precise spacing of the hunks of pork affixed securely to said wire, was achieved, young Errol believed that he had it all right. He fed the lead chunk to the first duck. The duck swallowed and passed the remains briskly. Errol then fed the next duck in line a fresh piece on the same line. Sometimes the duck was so worked up he couldn't wait and greedily gulped the leftovers from the previous duck. Although it sounds improbable and confusing to the layperson, the experiment was a resounding success. Soon there was somewhere in the neighborhood of a dozen birds connected from beak to butt and a living, quacking duck bracelet. The bizarre configuration tugged and lurched itself all over the backyard. Such success led to ambition. Errol sold tickets to his friends in the neighborhood. Word got around and they flocked in droves. Near dinner time, Errol's father came home, and Professor Flynn witnessed his son's venture into scientific inquiry and was horrified. In fact, the elder Flynn broke his umbrella across his son's back. Later in the evening, when pressed for an explanation of his actions, young Errol explained he was only trying to be like his father, the scientist. Professor Flynn stared at his son and then had to turn away very quickly. And years later, Errol Flynn recalled that that was the only time he ever saw his old man cry.